to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod and our final Andor After Show for Season 2, Episodes 10, 11, and 12. The segue into Rogue One, one of the most well-respected Star Wars movies ever made, as well as one of the most well-respected Star Wars shows ever made. This is the pinnacle of the Andor story, and we're about to dive in with all of our crew here. We've got your co-host Blake and Kirk and Dan. We also got Kyle joining us at some point as well. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
Welcome back, Blake.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Good to be back. Oh man, it's over.
It's over, yeah. It was fast. It was only 1 month.
Yeah.
It's usually like 2 months.
I don't know how I feel about these 3 episode releases. I like that you can get the whole arc together, but man, you just run through it so fast. If you would have, if I were to think about the fact that there's 12 episodes,
yeah,
it doesn't feel like it.
No, yeah, right? Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, we're very fortunate to have everyone joining us tonight again. And apologies to anyone who couldn't make it, who's been joining us for a few weeks now. But tonight we do have Dan back in the podcast. So welcome back, Dan.
Hello.
And we have Kirk back as well. Hello there.
Oh, I'm back and I'm built on hope.
All right. And we will have Kyle joining us at some point as well. But in the meantime, we have the 4 of us here, and we can just dive right in to episode 10 of season 2. What I'm going to do for anyone who's new is read off a little bit of stuff, recap the story, and then we can just dive in, kind of break things down. And there was a lot of stuff in this final 3 episode arc. So, we'll try and cover all of it. This episode is called Make It Stop, directed by Alonso Ruiz Palacios and written by Tom Bissell. Came out May 13th, 2025, along with the other following episodes as well. This is one BBY. This is 1 year before the Battle of Yavin, and the story arc leads up to and through that final year until episode 4, and Rogue One's in that mix. By the way, this episode and its following 2 came out the same day, which 10 years ago to the day, Diego Luna was announced as a cast member for Rogue One. How crazy is that?
I think that was
What?
planned.
Isn't that nuts? I was like, oh my goodness, that has come full circle like you would not believe. 10 years ago to the day when this episode came out in 2015, Diego Luna cast as Cassian Andor.
That's pretty crazy.
Is that real? It's actually serious?
It's real. Yeah, it's legit.
So his
Sorry.
first day and
No
his
lies,
last day.
no deception.
Lies!
Deception.
Deception!
For Godland will know the truth.
Oh man, where we
So
go?
what, they fired him on his anniversary.
They what?
They fired him on his anniversary.
Yeah, they were like, dude,
Yeah,
you're out of a
it.
job. Yeah, that's it. You know?
All right, thanks. We're gonna do 5 seasons. We're gonna speed it up to just do the second one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like technically they hired and fired him when Rogue One came out because they killed off his character. So, this was just sort of a revisitation of...
Wow. Yeah, May 13th, 2015. Exactly 10 years before Andor's upcoming season finale. That's insane.
Insane,
very crazy.
Yeah, May 13th, 2015. It's unreal.
2015. That's 10 years ago.
Yeah, crazy. All right. So this episode, a year following the events on Gorman, Lonnie gains access to Dedra's personal files and discovers a secret project the Empire has been working on. He gives this information to Luthen, warning that Dedra has likely uncovered both their identities. Though he initially promised Lonnie and his family safe passage from Coruscant, Luthen kills Lonnie instead to ensure his silence. Luthen has one last chat with Clea and then proceeds to destroy the comm system in his shop. Dedra arrives and confronts him. Luthen attempts suicide and is taken gravely injured to a hospital while Clea watches from afar. Dedra is then arrested by the ISB for withholding information and suspicion of being a spy. Interspersed throughout the episode, flashbacks reveal that Luthen was a military officer who defected after his unit massacred Clea's hometown. Finding her hiding in his ship, he informally adopts her, and the two begin selling antiques while waging resistance against the Empire. In the present, Clea sneaks into the hospital and shuts off Luthen's life support system, killing him for good. What a crazy intro to this story arc, Finally, glad that we did get some backstory on Luthen. I don't think I really expected that to happen, but I was very thankful that it did.
Were you happy with the backstory we got?
It was enough. For me, it was enough. It was like, this is sort of less about why he's doing what he's doing, really. It's more for telling us the story of Clea being such a crucial role and a more important role than we ever thought. And, right. Maybe someday we'll get a comic book or a book with, Luthen, his military history and stuff, but that's not important, everyone hates the Empire, right? It's not important to that. But I would like to know, just out of curiosity, it's like, well, what was he doing in the military, right? Again, it doesn't really matter. Man, this episode it brought us full circle. So maybe we can start with you.
We're gonna move on.
No, I was just gonna say, we can start with you. What did you think of this episode?
The episode overall, I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. I thought they did a good job writing out a lot of the characters that don't appear in Rogue One, and I definitely was on the edge of my seat through the whole story, so I definitely enjoyed it. I wasn't as happy with the other two. I felt, we'll get into that more, but it just felt like a huge energy drop off after this one. So it didn't feel like they had calculated the climax of the story in the right spot, in my opinion. But this episode I enjoyed thoroughly, except for Luthen's backstory.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I expected more.
All right.
I really did. We had speculated so much. I have a hard time believing someone would take on that much burden without a more personal reason. Because he and what's the girl he pseudo adopted? Mm-hmm. What's her name?
Clea.
I didn't feel there was enough reason for them to take on that much.
Okay, so to address that, what's going on in that scene with Clea hiding in the ship is Luthen's military unit is massacring a town of people. It's a bit like that John Boyega moment where he takes off his helmet and he's sweating and having a panic attack because he's like, holy crap, we just killed all these people. They didn't do anything. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Where's my life going with this, right?
When did they say that? Because I thought they were...
It was implied. It was in the sound. It was in the...
I thought they were on the defensive.
With Luthen's military.
No, they were slaughtering some village, it seemed from what I heard.
Yeah, they were massacring Clea's hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, there was a basement that people were found in, and they were slaughtering them, and
so I think that's reason enough. I think he was having one of those moments
to help her, but not started a galactic rebellion.
Well, I think he's realized he's on the wrong side, right? And now he hates himself for what he's done. He's got these sins affiliated with being part of the Empire. So he hates them for it. He hates himself for it. So he's got that whole monologue in season 1 where he says, I burned my decency for someone else's future. I burned my life.
Right.
to make a sunrise that I'll know I'll never see. And I was like, dang, like that line totally rings so well when he kills Lonnie, you know, because like when he kills Lonnie in this episode, I thought to myself like, okay, like would he really do that, right? Like is that something that his character would do? Totally is, you know, like he's completely, it is what it is. He's burned his decency.
Yeah.
He is murdering his own ally to make sure that the sunrise will happen for the galaxy, you know. He's willing to kill someone who's been loyal to him to make that happen, right?
Well, I guess the question was it necessary or not? But
you know, I think they
could have got him. I feel like they could have got him to Yavin, but
I mean, the important thing for the story is like he thinks it was, right?
Right.
And like the other,
as in, like you think he should have gone to Yavin?
I personally felt like it would have been a cool little story to set that up, and you find out he was actually one of the characters on Yavin base during the attack.
Lonnie?
Yeah, I think
fit in the background really well.
Yeah, I feel like he's. Oh wait, Lani, not Luthens. Sorry, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
yeah, but we're talking about both. But right now.
Yeah. Lani for me was pretty shocking. Like I didn't expect that to happen, but afterwards I kind of like going back to that speech Luthen gave. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is a guy that is all for the cause, and I think throughout both seasons, Lani was dropping so many hints. He's got a family and people to care about and stuff. So I think it's really that, and then also Luthen obviously not getting to the Yavin 4 for me was about, you know, the sunrise that he'll never see. Plus, he wouldn't be as accepted on Yavin because I don't think everyone that's fighting for the rebellion on Yavin now would really, or not many of them would want someone that just assassinates people like that. It's not exactly the same cause,
which is ironic because that's exactly what Cassian does at the beginning of Rogue One.
Yeah,
exactly. So like, and I think that's what like his band of like Rogue One, like that's what they're trying to imply. Like him and not Milshik. I can't remember his name. Melshi.
Yeah.
Melshi, along with I'm thinking Severance with Milchik, and along with the other guys. I think they're all part of that band of earlier, you know, rebels that have done all those terrible things for the Empire. For the formation of the rebellion.
Yeah, because that's what they say, right? It's like, yeah, we've all done terrible things on behalf of the rebellion, and like it's implied.
Yeah, they all had to die before the rebellion really took off because they did terrible things to build the rebellion. And once the rebellion gets going, then it's more of the heroes that we know now that aren't like going to just go out and assassinate people. And
yeah, it's crazy, you know. Like there's some dark stuff when it comes to wartime, and I was walking through this museum in New Zealand. They had this Gallipoli exhibition, and amazing exhibition, by the way. If anyone's going through Wellington, definitely go check it out. And there was this plaque that I read about a soldier who he was on the night watch. I think this kid was like 21, and he was on the night watch or something, and he was really ill. Like we're talking like, you know, he's had like scurvy and, you know, a bunch of stuff, right? And he was like responsible for watching that no intruders came in, and this is like a pretty serious like war, like a ton of people died, and he fell asleep on the job. So they imprisoned him, his own captain and everything, his own army. They imprisoned him, and then they were going to execute him. And then they ended up backing out of that because he was so willing to just accept the punishment because he knew that he had failed, right? And then he died the next day in battle. And I thought to myself, whoa, like that's such a sad story, you know? But in these kind of stories, very rarely do people get a happy ending. And the sacrifices are always there, you know, like in the tale. And so, you know, when Lonnie is like so loyal this whole time, like he's been reluctant since we met him, right, to like give the information to Luthen, but he knows he's kind of doing the wrong thing, being part of the Empire. He knows he wants to help the rebellion in some way, but he also wants to just get out of it. But Luthen kind of ties him to it, right? He's kind of like holding him back. And he's like, this is something that you need to do because like, look what I'm trying to do, right? Like, look what I've sacrificed. And then finally, like when the moment comes, he just kills him because like, this is what needs to happen to ensure that this works. And, you know, kills himself too.
I actually love that moment because it was so tragic. Like, yeah, he was just trying to get his family off there. And I actually gasped out loud because I was like, oh, damn, they went there.
Yeah.
And as heartbreaking as it was, I loved that moment. Like, you don't get those moments often in a Star Wars show. show, and it's
that's what I
No,
mean,
you
right?
don't.
That's what I mean. Like, it just felt so real. You know, it just felt like this is the unhappy ending for this character that I never thought would happen, but it just fits so nicely in this story of the gritty side of the war, right? And
feel
what
like
at the
this
beginning of the show, you didn't really care about that guy. He's
Right.
like, oh, he's just kind of sleazy. And then like at the end, you're like, oh, damn, like it was a big part of this. Like,
yeah.
For me, apart from like obviously like Andor and maybe Mon Mothma, it feels like this is like one of the only shows where I've been watching where I felt like all the characters did not have like any plot armor. Like I had a feeling that like all of them would, again, apart from like Andor, were going to be vulnerable to death or vulnerable to something. So that when the moment, like, you know, Luthen shooting I've already forgotten his name,
Lani.
but yeah, that moment we just talked, Lani, that moment, like, totally, I didn't expect that to happen, but when it happened, you're reminded that this is like a real, not a real show, but you're reminded it's so much more earned, I guess, even despite how awful it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you know, it's also just another clear parallel to another reason why Luthen and Clea might not be accepted at Yavin. You know, kind of like Saw.
I was just about to mention Saw, because I feel like Saw does similar things, but is a lot less tactical and stealthy about it.
Yeah, he's reckless, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's super reckless. Yeah. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's not like they don't stoop as low as the Empire, which like they literally showcased in like the flashbacks where like they had that firing squad and they killed like that kid, and they're not just like executing people for the sake of executing people. Similar to that moment at the start of Rogue One where like Andor, you know, actually maybe I won't go there because we'll probably talk about it afterwards. But like they'll get rid of people when they know truly well that someone is going to burden the rebellion, or they're gonna hamper the cause or the greater thing. I think that's been like a common theme with a lot of the reasons when either Luthen or Andor or other people have been killed by rebellion hand on the show. Which I don't know how we feel about like that happening. It's like it's unjust, but like it's necessary versus like obviously when the Empire just execute people willingly.
Yeah, for sure. Right before we have Kyle joining us in just 1 minute before we move on from this bullet point here, I just also want to say a parallel to this whole thing, you know, with Lonnie and his loyalty ending up in his death and all that. Huge parallel to Dedra and her loyalty to the Empire gets her screwed over as well. So like, I think it was Darian in previous weeks of the podcast. He also mentioned like, there you can draw like parallels between so many of the characters on the rebellion side and the Empire side, right? And I feel like this was just one of those moments where it's like, okay, yeah, in the same episode, you know, Dedra gets, you know, taken in by the ISB, just as Luthen gets taken out by Luthen,
Right.
or Lonnie gets taken out.
Was that this episode? Because that was one thing I wanted to mention. Yeah. My favorite moment in this episode was when, and it took me a while to figure it out, like maybe like a minute or so after it happened. But when Deirdre comes in and she's talking about, oh, is everything in this you know store that you have, is it all real? And then he's like, yeah, everything but 2 items. So he doesn't say that plainly, but he says something like that in a lot more eloquent language. I can't remember what it is. But then afterwards, I kind of like pictured like, oh, he's not necessarily referring to 2 items because I think they're all real, but he's referring to himself and Dedra in the shop as being the 2 ungenuine. Only the 2 ungenuine things within the store. I don't know if that
went over
that
my
was
head.
That's a great observation. I missed that. Like, but you're right.
I don't think if that's what he was intending or the writers were intending, but like after watching that scene again, I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's what that's what I think he's definitely referring to.
I think he talks in riddles a lot like that too. So I think that is probably exactly what he's referring to.
Yeah.
I need to actually, while we let Carl, you know, I might just figure out exactly what that line was, because I thought it was brilliant, and I thought it was just such a Luthen thing to say. And I don't know, my similar to I'm trying to think another scene. This is going a little bit rogue here, no pun intended. But have you guys seen the first Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You know that scene when like the movie's all kind of playing out, it's like a nice movie and stuff, and then like Michael Keaton shows up at that house, and then you realize, oh shit, like he's the father of the daughter that he's dating.
Yeah.
And there was like there's not much of any hints before that. Like when Deirdre rocked up to the store, I had like that same feeling, like, oh shit, stuff's gonna stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's another scene that's just like that in 22 Jump Street.
Oh yes.
Their boss, which is Ice Cube, is like,
how do you know this person?
yeah. It's such a good scene.
Yeah, such a good scene. I'll lose it every time I watch that.
I know you do.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, welcome back, Kyle. Good to have you back on the show.
Oh, hello there. It's been a while.
Yeah. All right. Well, first off, we're moving on to another bullet point here, so I'll ask you about this one. Luthen and Dedra's kind of sequence playing out in the store. She whips out the Starpath unit that we saw in season 1, and that was just such a crazy scene. It was super well written, the whole thing, like you said, Kirk. And what did you think of all that sequence of events?
So almost everything that I'm going to be hearing tonight is spoiler alerts. I'm just here for the fun. I'm at the second last episode, so that's why I was like, oh. And I had so many customers today. We're doing our buy one get one free offer thing, so my website's been going off the hook. So I have literally been working nonstop since like 7 a.m.
No worries, dude. You might as well just do a plug while you're at it, though.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right. Well, Kai Sabers is doing a buy one, get one free. It's for the youngling sabers, so just $19.99. And you could add 2 sabers for your kids or for yourself. And what's really cool, you can actually screw them together and make a staff out of it. So you get like a couple of neat options. It all comes together. You can put them as a staff, and just for all $99.
Pretty good deal.
That's amazing. Luthen needs one of those in his store.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
There's one thing I do like about his store is that every time they do a scene in it, I'm always looking at, I don't really look at the characters. I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's Padme's helmet. Oh, look at that. That's what I'm doing.
No, for sure. Or try to freeze frame and you click through it.
You did watch this episode though, right?
It's the first of the 3.
The first of the 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The first of the 3. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So
but that was a while back now.
So like, what did you think of this whole sequence of events, with like Luthen knifing himself and the moment there?
I love his character, and I think he's one of the very few people in the entire show that really get what he's doing, and you can kind of see that passion where it's from him, where to him it's the cause is worth more than anything.
Yeah, right.
And that and I heard you guys saying a little something, and I don't, a little spoiler alert, but it just goes to show me that I was correct in thinking he really gets it.
Yeah.
I would say there's one thing that probably is more important, and that's Clea.
Yeah. That's the only thing that he has a heart for.
The fact I learned recently, apparently, that it was that actor's, like, she just came out of drama school, and that was her first performance she's ever done.
Oh, dang.
Really?
What?
Yeah, like I was reading it this morning. I was like, whoa,
that's crazy.
That is some next level stuff.
You know how mean that is? All the other actors that are on that show that had to go through hell to get that part, and they're like, here you go.
Star Wars has always kind of been like that.
It's my first day.
They've always tried to cast the nobodies out there. What a great cast, though. I mean, the actress who plays.
They hired a carpenter to be one of their main heroes.
100%. Yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Right.
Exactly.
I found the quote before about him referring to. So Deirdre walks in and says, "Is everything real?" Then Luthen responds saying, what a wise question. Forgery is the sad curse of antiquities. At this current moment, only 2 pieces of questionable provenance are in this gallery. Any guesses? And then it flips back to Deirdre, who's standing next to a Gungan skull. So I thought, yeah, that reference about the 2 questionable pieces of provenance was referencing them, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's a very clever piece of wording. Yeah.
I was going to say he's kind of also giving out that, like, he knew that, obviously he knew that one piece was fake, that he put the listening device in. So maybe the fake ones, that's what he does.
Oh, we were talking about this earlier, but I think he was referring to himself and Deidre.
Yeah. Like because they're the ones with the wearing the fake personalities, right? Like they're pretending to be someone they're not. You know, he's pretending to be a simple shopkeeper, but he's really
rebellion mastermind.
And then she's pretending to be a client, but she's really an ISB business, officer, right? So yeah, it's like. Yeah,
it's just a theory.
Okay, that's way more deeper than what I got from it. I literally was thinking, oh shit, there's two things in here that are fake.
That's just my theory. It may not be true.
Yeah. Dan, what did you think of the scene unfolding here?
That was great. It was like the show's great about ratcheting up tension, and the whole time you're like, is he going to get out of this? Like what's going to happen? Like, why is she there by herself? Like, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. Full circle moment with Luthen, of course. I think we were theorizing this last week. Totally called it with Luthen dying. Didn't really see him killing himself like that. That was kind of crazy, but
Sudoku'd himself.
Yeah, so
Sudoku.
It's a bit of a shock when he like kind of drops and you see the bloody knife and stuff. And it was like, oh, that's why he went for the knife, like presenting it as like.
Yeah, it's true. It wouldn't look weird then.
Oh wait. Yeah. Do you mean seppuku?
Yeah, the Japanese.
When you said Sudoku, I thought like a puzzle. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I said that on purpose.
Sorry.
It's all good. Now the audience knows what we're talking about, at least.
Yeah. All right. He whips out a newspaper and does Sudoku to death.
That's right. This one's too hard.
So this episode ended off with him being taken away to the hospital so that they can try and preserve him, so that they can probably eventually torture him and get information out of him, right? So that sets up the next episode. But I love how Clea is watching from the shadows and sets up the next episode like that. Actually, wait. In this episode, she's the one. She does sneak into the hospital and kills him for good, right? So okay. So something about this whole sequence here was we haven't really seen her in action very much, and I just want to say I really appreciated seeing just how amazing she is at like doing what she did. Like she made an act on a just improv in one day, made it look like a team of 3, which is what the Imperials were like. Oh, it's got to be three people, right? Hitting us from all sides. Just one, just one person, just sneaks in, kills them. She's out. I'm like, whoa, like that was awesome. That was such a great sequence of events, and then the episode ended. But okay, does anyone have anything to say about that? The whole hospital thing.
I love the whole little grandma that she the little grandma who's pushing along and stuff. That was funny.
Yeah, that was good.
I genuinely thought, okay, and maybe this is due to my young-mindedness, but I genuinely thought she was going to go in there and do the typical save Luthen and take him out. So I was like, how on earth are they going to play this out? Is it just going to be like some really like odd, like Obi-Wan escapes, captures Leia from the the Inquisitor base, and then they just walk out really strangely? But no, like she just pulled the plug.
Yeah,
I think it's better that way.
It is
a lot more drama.
Oh, so much better that way. I think that was the fitting end for Luthen, and similar to how he killed Lani before.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, keep reminding me of these names.
So good. A fitting end indeed. Yeah.
All I could think was many Lutherans died to bring us this information.
Nice.
Many of them.
If you think about it, like it's a nice duality. Like he saved her when she was young, and in the end, she saved him by saving him from being tortured and destroying the rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. And there's he's such a tragic character. He always has been. Ever since we've heard his monologue about how he's never gonna see the sunrise that he's trying to build. He's even someone like him. He still has hope for a greater tomorrow. Even though he knows he has to be the guy that's got to sacrifice everything in order to make that happen. And so he's putting hope in Clea to be the person that'll carry that forward, And I just love that about it, because even though he seems like a hopeless guy, he's also got some hope somewhere, and that was a crucial part of the story.
I see it like the dad that plants the tree for the child. The dad's never going to see the tree huge, but the child's going to get to enjoy the fruit of that tree.
Yeah,
It's a meme.
absolutely. I think the scene actually forget everything I'm just saying. I've lost my train of thought. I think that's it well.
All right, yeah. So that's the episode. That's the first one. We'll move on to the next one here. Episode 11. It's called "Who Else Knows." So story goes: Dedra is interrogated by Krennic, who admonishes her for allowing her data to be leaked and confronting Luthen alone. The investigation is reassigned to Hirt, who identifies Clea in the security recordings at the hospital. Partagas declares her a public health concern to aid in her arrest. In the safe house, Clea contacts Wilman, who in turn recruits Cassian, Melshi, and K2SO to retrieve Luthen and her from the safe house, although they don't know that Luthen's dead yet. Despite rebel leadership being fed up with their disobedience, they do it anyways. Dedra, while in chains, gives Hirt insight into Luthen's communications, and his team intercepts the pulse codes that they've been using, which helps them track Clea to the safe house, right after Cassian and Melshi enter to retrieve her. She reveals that the Empire is building a superweapon and that it's all connected. Gorman, Jedha, Scarif, kyber crystals. She wishes to stay behind as the rebels on Yavin 4 deeply distrust Luthen's cell, but Andor insists she goes with them. As Hirt's team closes in, K2SO enters the building and begins attacking the Imperials. So this episode was pretty hot. It was like really tense the whole way through. It was awesome. Kirk, like what did you like about this one?
I just remembered my train of thought before, which was to do with this episode, I guess. I think it's wild that the Jin, Urso, kyber crystals, like that was all like just word of mouth. Like it wasn't like plans that were then sent off to someone else. Like it was, Lani told Luthen, then Luthen told Claire, then Claire told Andor. Like it was all just a word of mouth thing, which makes it more believable by the time we get to Rogue One that the concept of there being a super weapon that was disguised under an energy program was less believable. And yeah, this episode for me was such a highlight. I loved that the sequence when they contact back to the ISB base before we saw K2SO leave the ship, and the ISB officer was like, "Oh, did we order a KX unit or something?" I think he said K unit.
Yeah.
KX. And then and they're like, "No, we didn't order one. Must just be there for patrol." And I'm just thinking, oh, okay, I know exactly what K2SO is going to do now, and these guys they're going to get out of there because of K. So I thought that was great. I kind of wish, rather than these like Imperial troopers that had like their helmets off, I kind of wish we saw Death Troopers or some kind of like more advanced squadron kind of come in. Maybe
I agree
like a
with
squadron.
That. It's weird seeing
maybe
troopers without helmets. That really kept taking me out.
Yeah, it just like just that part of it was the only kind of little issue I had with it. Like I felt like I was watching like some, I don't want to use the term Star Wars spin-off because like I know a lot of people have been not spin-off, sorry, like a Star Wars copy, because I know a lot of people that critique the show unfairly like use that term. But I just felt like with that scene I wanted to see like Death Troopers or maybe like the squadron from the Battlefront 2 game, like Arden Versio and them. So something similar to that, with the helmets on, and then they just didn't have the people's faces. But then again, like I loved how K2SO held up that ISB agent who just got absolutely slaughtered. Like I thought that was that was an epic moment. And the whole hallway scene and the fighting I thought was really, really good. And apart from that very small complaint, I loved this episode. And it was at the end of this episode, I was thinking, I was expecting that this was going to be like the climax to the next episode. So I'm glad this kind of, wrapped up by the second. I think I can't think of, I've probably have to go back onto the episode and think of anything else. But anyway, those are my thoughts for now.
Yeah. This episode was served really as the climax of this trio of episodes of this arc, and it was like the pacing, I think was
it? I felt like it was a step down energy wise from the last one.
You think? Oh,
yeah, I thought the first of the three was the highest intensity.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like I felt like the stakes were way higher with Luthen and Dedra than with them here in the hideout.
I guess so. Actually, yeah. Well, the hospital scene was pretty intense as well, but I don't know. I felt like the build up through this whole episode was I don't know. It was just really well done.
Actually, this episode didn't even have the ending of this incursion, of this assault. Like it kind of stopped before anything happened. Sorry.
Exactly.
The next episode, the next episode is the one that has like K2SO going into the hallway and doing all that. So which is still like, it was fine for me. I thought it was interesting. I think another little part of this episode, I loved when like that tech officer back in Luthens' shop was like geeking out over the tech equipment that Luthen the rebels were using to communicate with, and the guy standing next to her is just like, no, this is not the time for that. Right. don't do this. Don't say this. Like he did like a little nod, like very very subtly.
Dan, what'd you like about this episode?
I thought it was great. Like I didn't think it was like too low energy compared to the previous one, because like, you know, you're still ratcheting up, like they had to get out of there. I love K2SO. I'm so happy to see him back. Like he brought a lot of humor to his scenes. I like, you know, Daedra getting interrogated by Krennic. Like I'm always happy to see more Krennic. He's such a great character. Going back to the troopers without their helmets, like my wife had commented, she's like, why do they not have their helmets on? And looking it up, those are ISB agents. So like it makes sense that, like, you know, ISB guys, they're not on Coruscant. I don't think they need to hide their identity. Like, you know, they're just... It's
a bit of a weird one, because I feel like we saw, when there's any ISB agent-y things in Rogue One, I think that was the Death Troopers. And then the only other person we really have is what's his name from Rebels.
You're also on Coruscant, so I don't think like people need to necessarily hide their identity on their base, like their home base, versus out in the field. Like
my original thinking was similar to that, which was the quote unquote police around Coruscant. They didn't want regular troopers just so that the public doesn't feel like they're under military control.
Yeah, there is that. I see, the way I look at it is, and maybe Kyle can has something to say on this too, but the way I look at it is like there's so many different military divisions, right? Like there's like the scout troopers in the Empire. They're, like under the Republic, it was different because you had the legions of clones all split up, and every legion had their own multi-classes of troopers. So you had your regular troopers, your scouts, like for Obi-Wan, he had regular troopers, he had Commander Cody, he had Waxer and Boyle, which kind of served as scouts a lot of the time, and they also had the scout uniforms at one point as well.
ARC
and they had ARC troopers. They had so many different roles, and they operated as a legion, right?
Yeah, it was full military.
And in the Empire, it works a little different because they're kind of galaxy wide at this point, so they have all their whole like completely different ranks per trooper. So like scout troopers are kind of used for certain purposes. You always see them riding around on those speeder bikes all the time. You wouldn't see a stormtrooper riding those speeder bikes, right? Then you got the shore troopers. They're always in hot environments. And then there's like, there's so many, right? And then the death trooper is like, kind of like you were saying, how we see at the beginning of Rogue One. A death trooper squad is usually like a kind of like when we see in Mandalorian when Moff Gideon requests a Praetorian Guard squad, right? I think like a death trooper squad can be assigned, to high-ranking officials because those guys are like kind of like the Black Ops kind of super highly trained guys, right? Well, because we're on Coruscant and it's an ISB investigation, it makes sense that they have their own policing guys that like do local things, right? Or like things that they have immediate military resources available at their disposal.
Still, ISB is supposed to be like the equivalent of like the Nazi SS.
Yeah, so maybe they had people like that kind of operated like that within that group or that.
You know what? My like now that you say that, maybe there was that scene where they go into someone else's apartment. They have to talk to the other residents of the building.
Yeah.
So maybe like that team, without helmets and stuff, even though like one commander could have done this, like maybe the logic there is that like they needed like human facing people to talk to the other residents and to communicate rather than just be like a, completely
faceless
brutal,
mask.
just
faceless,
like, and that's why they sent a squad of people with, like that. Maybe, I don't know.
There's some truth to that for sure.
I was going to say how I feel. You're right. It's very much SS-like. You remember that movie, Inglourious Bastards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Christoph does that scene with the Jewish people in the house, and he's like, "You're hiding Jews, right?"
Mm-hmm. Like the beginning
that
of
is
the series.
to me.
Or that's season 2?
but that to me is almost the exact same thing is when Krennic goes and gets Galen. It's almost I get that vibe from it where it's like they are the SS. Now, of course, all militaries have their police. So the Nazis had their red bands, right? They would go around and police the cities that they were in. So there was all these things. It's just like the military, but the Empire, it just screams everything about Nazis.
Yeah.
Like it just screams it.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I think George would say they're basically just space Nazis. So.
Yeah.
There's one of them that freaks me out, man. Daedra, her eyes, dude. Oh my god, like she freaks me out.
Yeah,
like I don't know if I can say this on this podcast, but her and when I forget the guy's name that she was dating.
Oh,
the one with Cyril. Yeah, Cyril. Yeah, I don't know if I could say this on the podcast, but I imagine the two of them getting it on, and it's like timed. All right, we have to do it in this exact sequence. You know, like that's
turn the lights off.
They're just so I don't.
No, yeah, you can totally say that. We did talk about this when it happened on in the arc, right? Like it was such a weird kind of moment. And yeah, I mean, but it fits the character because she's kind of supposed to be a psychopath, right?
And they're both very calculated.
And they're both really awkward people.
She got the eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She got the dead stare.
Now I see him as honestly, I see him as kind of like he's just always trying to prove himself. But her, she's like, I know where I stand.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I think something that really struck me about this episode was the conversation between Andor and Clea in the safe house, and they're talking about him leaving, right? Because he was kind of part of Luthens' cell, right? And then he eventually goes and joins the rebels on Yavin, and so she was kind of frying him for that a little bit. And then he goes on to say, I made the right choice. No one can do this alone, and they're talking about Luthen. He says like he knew that. He just couldn't swallow his pride. And I don't know, it was just such a perfect like way to put it, because like it's kind of true. Like Luthen operated a certain way and it was very effective up until a certain point. And his last, his last job doing what he was doing, kind of led to his end. But he gave everything for it, right? And he kind of puts it to Clea like, you don't need to be that. Like, you don't need to do that or do this anymore. Like, you have you have set something up on Yavin that you just have to see. You need to go and be where in the place that you've built. He makes
it's
it out. It's
crazy that he's never been there to see it.
Because Clea has been the one behind all these communications for so long, right? She's the one that's been building this, alongside Luthen, but she's the one that's been behind the mic. She's been the one that's been kind of the tireless at late hours in the middle of the night. She's been standing there doing that thing, behind the counter, communicating with people, setting this whole thing up. So it just made sense to me that they had that conversation and kind of addressed those things. So that was really cool.
I thought the scene, speaking of Deirdre before, like that scene where Krennic just goes up behind her and puts his finger like on her head during the interrogation.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, damn.
That was so good.
Perfectly centered and everything. I'm like, damn, yeah, this guy, I hope he survives in Rogue One. He's an awesome Imperial officer. Oh wait, no, yeah. So he was
he's scary.
He was scary. I think Ben Mendelsohn did an awesome job, and apparently that scene was improvised as well. Which makes
was it really?
Yeah, like I was watching an interview with the Daedra character, and she was like, yeah, she had a mini panic attack when she did that because it's such an uncomfortable feeling having someone like stand over you and especially like
I saw that interview.
Yeah, and like stick his finger like on top of your head while you're being interrogated. Like she did not have a good ending arc. That character. I mean,
it was so disrespectful to her. You could tell like he didn't have any respect for her. Like he's just like treating her like a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got manhandled. Like he grabbed her as well, and Cyril in the previous episode or a couple of episodes ago. Like, yeah, she the sins of just having to bend over and do her bidding for the Empire. I guess does she get
that's power and control?
Yeah.
One thing that came out of that I noticed, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like in Rogue One, Krennic always felt a little bit on edge. Like the Emperor's like, because he's so far behind, right? Really breathing down his throat to have this thing complete. And through this show, he seemed more relaxed, but I could tell there's a massive shift in kind of like his like mental state and like how he composed himself, like from the point where there was the leak. So I felt like there might actually be a bit of a character change that happens there. Suddenly there's a lot more pressure on his shoulders.
I think it's also due to the fact that and I think we talked about this when we were watching the episodes, but the power hierarchy in this show, he is the highest ranking Imperial that we have seen, right?
Yeah.
So everyone that we've seen in the ISB, everybody, they're all beneath him, right? And then when we get to Rogue One, you get ranks like Grand Moff Tarkin and Vader, and you know mentions of Palpatine, and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, he's definitely not at the top. He's not the top dog anymore in this story, but in Andor he is. So like you can see him shift his composure, when that story happens, and especially when he meets Vader, you can see him kind of get the chills. He's like, Lord Vader, and you just
I love that.
Yeah, it's just this moment where he's like,
I am still in command.
Yeah. He's like humbled by being in this guy's presence, and you can tell he's like his confidence levels drop significantly, especially seeing as he's now the one under the gun. Yeah, he's now the one under the gun, under someone's finger, of like being responsible for all this stuff and all the leaks and everything like that. So he's acting out of desperation.
I love as well, like Krennic in this, like actually similarly in Rogue One as well. Like he wasn't involved in like any action set pieces or anything like that. He was purely just like evil, and his authoritarianness, I know that's not a word, but was purely displayed through the dialogue that he had and his interaction with these other ISB agents. Because I think every single scene he was just against another ISB agent or whatever, or Imperial officer, which I thought was really good. I think I would like to, I'm not sure if I want to see more of Krennic now in other properties, because I know he turned up in the Bad Batch, but I think what we got so far was a great, K2 had his appearance, which I think I mentioned like a while back. I wanted to see them in the future. Same with Krennic, so I think I'm very happy with how they were treated.
Definitely. All right.
It was really stood out to me when Krennic during interrogation asked her what does she, Daedra, think what this is about, and she says Death Star. I felt like they would have said Stardust, which is the code name.
I think so on the one hand,
for the viewers, but
I think it is. I think it's totally for the viewers who may have not seen Rogue One and would have understood that reference, because we only know that reference from the connection that they make in the end of that movie, right? Like they're looking for the Death Star files.
Right.
And they only know that it's called the Death Star because Galen Erso tells them it's called the Death Star. So they're looking for the Death Star, and they're like, oh, it's all code names. Like, what is it? And that's when they realize, like, oh, it's Stardust, right? So I think to the average viewer who may have either not seen Rogue One or it's been a long time, they probably just decided, you know what, let's just call it how it is, because she knows the truth. This is a very raw moment. It's like, you know what?
It took me out, though, because I'm like, it almost feels silly.
It almost does. It almost does. But it's also like, this is a raw moment. They're not beating around the bush. They're not like, no BS, no code names. Where nobody's around, we're in an interrogation room. What are you talking about? Death Star.
But doesn't Galen also say like they call it the Death Star? Like he doesn't say I'm calling it the Death Star.
No, he said
obviously internally
they called it the Death Star.
Yeah, so obviously internally somewhere, like it's not just referred to as Stardust. I think just those plans that were sent to the Scarif base were under the file name Stardust. But I don't see it being totally like not believable that other ISB agents were able to refer to it to what it was, given that Galen had that, and maybe a file. We don't know what files came across to Deirdre's desk, but I don't see it totally being plausible as as her referring it to Death Star as a just audience service. But yeah, if in that moment if she said Stardust, like it would not have like any payoff at all for people that didn't remember it being called Stardust in Rogue One. Yeah, which I think it's definitely served that as well. Like I would have known, but like I think a lot of more casual viewers or people haven't seen Rogue One in a while would have definitely helped for sure.
Yeah,
I was going to say for the military, we do that all the time. You have your code words for stuff that's in filing and anything that could be picked up by any sort of enemy forces, and then you have the name that people just call it, right? So people are calling it the Death Star. but really its code name is Stardust. So in the Army, I was a signal operator. I was a radio man, but my code name was, I think it was Bluebell. It's like over 20 something years now. And I think my code name was Bluebell. So each individual like unit, so the MPs had their own name, but you still call them an MP. But if I'm using it and I'm talking over a radio, or I'm filing it and I'm keeping it safe somewhere, you use the code names for things.
Yeah, right.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the final episode here. It's called Jedha Kyber Urso. K2SO kills Hirt and his team, but Clea is gravely wounded in the escape. Cassian, Melshi, and K2SO take her back to Yavin 4, where they are grounded for their disobedience. Much of the rebel leadership, including Bail, do not trust Luthens' intel, but Mon Mothma is willing enough to hear Clea out. Vel talks with Andor, who convinces her of Luthens' integrity, and they toast to their fallen comrades. As a rebel informant associated with Saw's contacts on Yavin 4, begs to talk to Cassian over the communications. The rebel leadership realizes that the evidence is too great to be a trap and agree to let Cassian and K2SO fly to Kafrene to meet with this informant. Clea accepts her role on Yavin 4 with Wilman, Mon, and Vel. Partagaz commits suicide upon realizing he is to be arrested, while a weeping Dedra is imprisoned in a facility similar to Narkina 5. On Mina Rao, B2EMO plays with another droid while Bix cradles a baby as she looks wistfully toward the horizon. So this was the final episode, the segue into Rogue One. And I think generally speaking, like, I feel like Rogue One is the real finale here when it comes to this story. But maybe Dan, we can start with you. What did you think of this episode?
I loved it. I loved it, the whole last 3 episodes. It was a strong finish to the show, and the way it builds into Rogue One. I got a little weepy seeing Bix with the baby. It was much like how Luthen's never going to see that sunrise. Cassian's never going to meet his child.
Yeah.
And it makes his death even more tragic in Rogue One.
Totally. Yeah. That was a pretty crazy moment.
Did he and Jin have a romantic relationship? I'm trying to remember.
They kind of, I mean,
it was always like kind of
they
weird.
They had that look in the elevator, like in that it was kind of like shot in like slow motion, where they like almost were kind of leaning in for a kiss, but like they didn't. Yeah. They didn't. I don't think anything happened in the end.
They didn't kiss. No, they.
I think the closest thing that they ever really did was a hug when they died.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They had an embrace. Yeah. They shared like a deep embrace.
Okay. Because I think that was like a complaint at the time. Like, there's no romance in this movie. It's interesting now.
Yeah.
With like looking at that in hindsight with this.
Yeah.
Like contextually.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think it, like, I saw a lot of people complaining about it, being like, how could Andor, like, you know, even consider Jin at that point? Like, that was like, that's crazy. But for me, like, watching how this show played out, like, Bix left him, and she left him like a year ago and said, you know, once this is over, come find me. So like, it's been a year, like Bix just dropped everything and left, and they haven't communicated since then. And Andor even said in this episode, or maybe in an episode beforehand, he said like something along the lines of like, Bix is happy right now and she's safe, and if I go see her, she won't be safe, or something like that. So for me, like, and he doesn't know that he has a son after the end of this episode, which was like obviously very tragic. So for the people who I think that say that him looking at Jin that way on the elevator on the ride down and having that moment where they knew they were going to die, I don't think was out of character. The way I kind of saw it.
He could also be looking at Urso like a sister. Like, you know, he never did find his missing sister, and you know, she could have been filling in that role as well.
That's true. That's true. And you know, it's worth noting because you know, some people have asked about that. It's like, okay, in this episode we saw his younger sister in a dream, right?
Yeah.
And
you and I talked about this while watching the episode. I brought up like we never got the conclusion to where his sister ended up.
Okay, so there's 2 answers for that. One is in season 1 they did have a line from Marva that did kind of indicate to Cassian that everyone on his homeworld had been killed. So but
we know that she was working at like a brothel.
Yeah, well, it wasn't her exactly. There was a name that was similar to hers, but like unlike very many Star Wars stories, we just kind of jut into a random part in his life. You know, like this is a random moment which has nothing to do with the rest of this story. It's just a moment that we catch him in,
right,
doing
that's a whole
whatever he's
season.
Doing. Yeah, doing whatever he's doing, and you know, and that's where the story begins. But it's not important to the story. So I looked up an article.
I feel like it's important to his character story, though.
It sort of is. So I looked up an article about this, and Tony Gilroy says this to The Hollywood Reporter. He says Kino Loy is like Cassian's sister who he was trying to find in the series premiere. People wanted to know if we're going to resolve the sister, and the sister in the beginning is so much more interesting to me as a deficit. She's much more valuable to me for Cassian as an absence. As he says in the end, maybe I should stop saving people. His need to return and save people and to be a savior and his compulsion to do that comes from this hole in his life, and I didn't really want to fill that in. So I think we can probably just roll forward with the idea that she probably did die on that planet, and he was a kid. So like when this all,
I don't know, man. It's Star Wars. It's going to be a comic or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like
She's going to become like a hero
Andor's
rebellion.
sister, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
She's going to be a hero of the rebellion, and they'll have never met.
I see. The thing is, like, there's such meaning behind not bringing her back, and like assuming that like she did die, but it's his like endless hope and his need to save her that.
Come at you then in response to that with Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, that we'll save that for next week.
Well, just because they keep bringing back characters, right? So.
They do keep bringing back characters, which is why I hope they don't bring her back, right? Like I don't want them to bring people back. If they're dead, leave them dead. You know, like I just don't like it.
I think it was more of like a thematic thing for me, like forgetting about her physically being alive. Like I think it was more in line with like Andor lost everything. Like he sacrificed everything. Like he never found his sister. He was never like with his mother when she died. He couldn't save his best friend, and he couldn't be with the love of his life. And he never met his son in the end. So I feel like it was more just like adding to all of that sacrifice that character had
totally,
burdened, rather than like whether or not like we actually got to see him finding his sister. I think it was just another addition to his plot point of just tragedy.
True, man. Listing it all out like that's so depressing.
Yeah, and that's kind of just another drop in the bucket for this character, right? Like that's why I think she serves a bigger purpose not coming back. She serves a bigger purpose being this mysterious killed family member that he never got to see again. It's an unresolved part of his life.
And I could see how that also would lead to him being so resistant to helping Jin in the first place.
Yeah, like, and he's also like, if finding his sister would be closing the loop, right? Like what drives him are these gaps, like in his, he's got this need to go out and save people. But if he had somebody that he cared about, he wouldn't have the need to go out and save anybody. Like if
absolutely.
If he's content, if he's got a family, if he's like Lonnie, he would just want to, hide off somewhere on some desolate place, on a place like Mina Rao,
right?
And not be the person. His
priorities would be to protect those.
Yeah, and not be the person that he needs to be. And that's the whole thing with the Force healer. The Force healer knows who he's supposed to be, and that's why Bix leaves, because she's like, we're about to have a child together. If he knows about this, he will not do what he's supposed to do.
Right.
And she's a believer.
Yeah, Bix said that. So said, if I stick around, the rebellion's, the cause is going to be lost. So, poor dude. He's like Obi-Wan. He can't have any attachments. He's like a Jedi pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, dude. So
he murders people.
Seeing Dedra in Narkina was crazy. I don't know if it's Narkina 5 or maybe a similar facility, but that was pretty.
Same jumpsuit. So it's only what I know. It's like that. And same with the cell was the same as what Cassian was in.
Yeah.
Electrified floors and stuff.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think like what's gonna happen. Like I don't really care to like see more of that story, but
Could you imagine though? You were like high up in like the top levels of the building of this project, and now you're basically a slave making parts for it,
like where Andor was too. Like that's crazy, like and I think
I didn't know he was there though, but yeah.
And I don't, the reason why I say I don't care to see more of the stories, because I love the fact that it's like food for thought. It's like just wondering what's going through her head and where is she gonna end up like after the war.
I thought about that, like even while I was watching the scene, I'm like, she's depressed now, but she's gonna rebound and she's gonna become like the top dog. She's gonna be like the Andy Serkis character, but like way more strict.
yeah, exactly.
Like when the lights shut off and then like it became real, like I loved how she just like shuddered. Like she shuddered a little bit. And because like everything that she's done, she just falls into the palms of her hands. Like she's not getting out of there. Like everything she did just led it up to that. And I didn't think we were going to be seeing any other references to Narkina 5 or a prison of some kind, but I think just like that shot of her overalls, like as soon as I saw that like little orange on her shoulder before it kind of panned back, I'm like, oh shit, that's where she's ended up. That's insane.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
that was pretty nuts.
Although I find what she was saying to Krennic at the end, like I was almost thinking that he would have believed her and he'd be like, okay, yeah, she's not a spy. But that just shows like how much more of like the infighting and makes it so much more believable how the Empire, eventually collapsed. They were just fighting amongst themselves in the end. Like they just like literally just like those band of rebels on Yavin back in the first episode. They pretty much were just falling apart by that stage.
Oh yeah, totally.
Turning on each other and everything.
Yeah, it's a great way.
Also, I love that little moment with Partagaz.
Yeah,
like
Partagaz.
when he kills himself, like how that one guy comes out knowing like what he's going to do. He's like, can you leave me alone for a second, collect myself, and then you see him pull out the gun. Then you hear the blast, and then like the stormtroopers go to enter, and he just holds his hand out. It's like no, just wait.
Yeah, just give it a,
good.
yeah, just give it a moment. Yeah,
So good.
Yeah, it was like a nice quiet moment. Like it was so well done though. Like so much was conveyed in that one little scene.
Totally.
That was probably the highlight of the episode for me, to be honest.
Yeah, this is that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. You could hear it.
And like he just played Nemec's monologue as well. Oh no, not his monologue. What did they call it? The manifesto.
Yeah.
Manifesto.
Yeah, the manifesto. Yeah.
Yeah, just playing that, and I think he's also realizing like everything that they've. How do you guys interpret that? Him playing that like that they were failing. Like
whose manifesto?
So
was it?
this goes back to the Aldani heist in season 1. Do you remember that guy? He ended up dying, but
the guy got squashed.
The guy who got squashed. Yeah, he had the curly hair. And he was writing what he called a manifesto for the rebels, and they had a conversation.
Yeah, he's like, remember this: freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction, like that one.
Yeah.
Remember this: the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and even the smallest act of insurrection or something like that.
Yeah. He died on the ship when they were escaping. There was that box that was like really heavy that slid into him as they were like firing off. Right. It was like such another like crazy like random like how did
they get that?
Like like just a tragic
just now. Yeah, now I know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a pretty crazy thing to see, kind of the realization on his face of like, oh, like
he's like, it's spreading, isn't it?
We're done.
Yeah.
Like he kind of sees what's happening.
Like how like the editing on this, like these are such simple things, but like when we watch it back, we're like, oh, it's just so ingenious that they include these little moments from this first season. I don't know, maybe I'm fanboying too much over these episodes.
No, I know, I totally get it. I loved it.
Connected a lot, but this one, and then
I was going to say it's Andor. You're fair to do that.
I do feel like this one and the box that Deja brings maybe a little too close together, but
yeah. Full circle, full circle. Bix and Andor's child.
It doesn't repeat, but it kind of rhymes.
Yeah.
As George would say.
It rhymes. It's poetry.
That's right.
It's poetry.
I know we already talked about Bix's child, but yeah, it makes it so much more tragic that Andor didn't ever get to see his son.
Kid?
Yeah. So I wonder if maybe there's a future story where we do get his kid coming back, and maybe that's called.
Oh, right, because you were speculating.
Maybe that's called Starfighter.
You're speculating. Yeah, that's right. You thought you were like Ryan Gosling's character.
It's Ryan Gosling.
Can you imagine if it's Ryan Gosling's character and he's just like this super quippy, like jokey kind of guy, and then
yeah,
that was it. I don't know.
Does the
how
timelines line up? Do we know when Starfighter takes place?
Well, I kind of shot down Josh's idea on this because like both Cassian and Bix are like they're Latino.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Gosling is definitely not Latino.
That's a good point.
So I don't think that makes any sense.
They had a baby and it was Ryan Gosling. That'd be so funny.
It would be very funny.
I think it's going to be Ryan Gosling's wingman, and they're going to bring him in somehow because, dude, he's going to be like, I got to fight for my dad. My dad was killed in one of the, I could see him doing something like that.
I could see maybe their son is a character in Starfighter.
That'd be fine,
right?
Sure,
maybe.
Yeah.
But yes, but
It
to
could be
answer
like the Iceman.
but to answer the question, yes, the timeline lines up. Starfighter takes place 5 years after episode 9, which is like, what is it?
Oh, way.
Oh wait, no, that's way too late, isn't it? Like Ryan Gosling's like 40.
Yeah.
So that'd be like 70 years after all of this, wouldn't it?
No, because this is like one BBY.
Oh yes,
right?
because it's 30 years after. So yeah, it would. So Ryan Gosling could be
He's the perfect
Diego
age.
Luna.
Yeah, it would be.
He totally could be. He's the perfect age. Like I think it's like 35
Yeah,
to 36
you were doing all the
years.
math, and you're like, dude, this could be it. And I'm like, you're missing this one like vital flaw.
The blonde hair
don't
doesn't really
see-
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bright blue eyes.
We don't see race here in the Star Wars galaxy. Everyone
true.
can just mix, and you know,
Yeah.
you could
You just roll
you
the
could
dice.
come out like Diego Luna and Bix. Sorry, I keep saying Diego Luna. Andor and Bix's kid. It could be a Gungan. Like he could. You don't know.
Yeah, you never know,
Just,
right?
Well, I
things
mean,
just
My
line up.
kids are half Japanese with blue eyes, so who knows, man?
Look at Hera's kid too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Half
that.
Twi'lek.
And then he just becomes human all
He
of a
just
sudden.
had a green hair.
Yep. And pointy elf ears.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of that.
Right.
Okay. The slow-mo exit flashing sequence, drawn out, super epic. To all the characters who've played a part in Andor's story, that was amazing and emotional. And you see the Force healer look over at him, and you see Mon Mothma's husband kind of with somebody else. You see, you just kind of get these little interlude scenes of like kind of where everyone is in their story, right? And like where it's like what's setting up Rogue One, where the characters we aren't going to see in Rogue One are headed. That was really cool to see. And, I love the Force healer moment. She kind of knows the moment's come. Seeing it happen, he's going off to get in his ship to go to the Ring of Caffrine, and that's where the Rogue One story picks up. So I really love how they kind of exited out that final episode. Was brilliant, if you ask me. It was
Watch the credits.
yes, exclusive to this final episode. So it kind of blends in from the Andor music into this song. Yeah, you hear
I
that?
hear it now. Yeah.
And then they just kept it rolling until the very end.
Right into the Star Wars theme. Yeah.
I was like, man, like Andor's not the kind of show.
Luke, you all right?
Andor's not the kind of show that you would hear this music, but I love the fact that they put it in. So, yeah, very, very cool. A little nod of the head there to where the story begins, and where the story's headed in the timeline from this point on.
It's true.
Josh, I got a trivia question for you. When's the first time you hear the Vader March?
The Imperial March?
Yeah.
Carnal, like from release, or do you mean?
Yeah, just when in human history, not Star Wars history, but
in human history.
Like for when from like was it in 77?
Oh
Was it-
yeah.
yeah.
You're talking about 1980.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, damn it! You actually knew it. Crap!
Yeah.
I thought I knew one thing that you didn't know.
Oh, yeah. No, we don't.
Nothing gets past Josh. Nothing gets past him.
God, no, it really doesn't, man.
Human history. I was like confused by the wording on
Yeah,
that.
John Williams didn't write that till the second movie.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, anyone else have anything to say on this final episode before we do the scores?
I will say,
this
is kind of.
Oh, sorry. Go for it, Blake.
I will say one thing that I was annoyed about earlier in previous podcast episodes is that I was upset that they didn't bring back. Oh gosh, what's the droid? What's the droid's name again?
B2AMO.
K2SO.
K2SO. Thank you. They didn't bring back K2SO early enough, but
Yeah.
man, there's such a tone shift in the last episode in this one with him just being there because he adds this extra layer of comedy that just didn't really exist.
Yeah.
And I felt like it really actually took away from the seriousness of the situation.
Yeah, it did, and I think that's a good reason that they didn't put him
I
in
think
earlier.
that's why.
Right?
Yeah. In hindsight, I'm glad they didn't, and I almost felt like it made it significantly less intense.
Yeah.
So I almost would prefer to be wasn't there.
So this episode was the segue to Rogue One. Rogue One, like I said, like I feel like we should look at Rogue One as the real finale. Even though this is a finale to a show, it's also a show that is a prelude to a movie, and that movie is a prequel.
Also a prelude.
Is also a prequel to the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
We got a prequel that ends right before a prequel that ends right before the original.
And they left gaps in season 2, so we could have a prequel to the prequel of the movie.
You're right. He could come back.
Isn't it insane now that you can watch Andor and then go right up until the end of A New Hope, and there's like zero time gap like in between how everything connects. It's just like
there's a time gap
I love
from this episode, I think, to Rogue One.
there's like
because it's a year ahead, right?
it pretty much like like he flies like they're getting into the ship to go to
the
Kafrene,
ring
and then,
yeah, there's
Yeah, so
we don't know
for the
how long
Battle
he's
of
there
Yavin.
for.
in Kafrene.
I think because he mentions like I'm gonna go see Tivik. Like he says that as he's getting into the ship, and then K2SO is like, I like it. I heard a rumor that we're going to Kafrene, and I like it when we have plans that aren't just off the cuff type of thing, which is what happens in Andor. So I think like this leads directly into that scene pretty much.
It does, yeah.
Well, he's analytical. He's what is it? I forget what it's called. The battlefield analyzer. So yeah, he definitely wants it to be more streamlined. Where Cassian's kind of like, we're doing this right now. He's like, well, you got a 68% chance of doing it.
Yeah.
So like, Josh, did they give us any idea of what the time gap is between the end of
this? It's seamless.
Andor?
It's seamless because
You think it's literally just like the next day?
Yeah, like it has to be because he's getting in the ship to go where he's in Rogue One,
And he's wearing the same outfit that he's wearing at the beginning.
Yeah, it's the same jacket.
We did
same
double
everything.
check. It is the same jacket.
It's got to be like 48 hours difference. However long it takes him to hyperspace to Ring of Kafrene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I thought he'd be there for a while trying to figure out this information.
Well, they already knows who he's meeting, though. That's the thing. Like they talked about that in the episode. He already knows where he's going. He already knows who he's meeting.
Okay.
Which, because like for me, as I when these episodes come out here in Australia, like they come out around about 11 a.m. So it's like in the middle of like a work day for me.
Yeah.
So, but for me, because I freelance and everything, I have my own work hours and stuff. So I watched the 3 episodes, and as soon as like the 3rd episode ended, I'm like, crap, I have to put on Rogue One now. So then I watched.
said that to you.
Yeah. And then I put Rogue One on straight afterwards, and like immediately as like Andor goes up to Tivik and Tivik says Urso, like, or he says something, and then Andor quickly interjects and goes, Galen Urso, like, is that who you mean? And I'm like, wow, this makes so much more sense now, how he was quickly able just to reconfirm everything that he's heard by word of mouth from Keela to Luthen, Clea to Luthen to that, and it just connects so well. I mean, he looks a bit younger, obviously. So I mean, considering it was filmed 10 years ago, but.
Yeah,
a decade ago, but it's not that much of a difference. And I felt like I had to watch Rogue One straight afterwards for closure because it was just for me at least, like that final montage
closure to that.
Yeah. But after that, I watched it not too long ago, so I felt I was pretty covered after that.
It's nice that it leads right
later
into.
he comes out of his room.
It's nice that it leads right into Rogue One, because Rogue One leads right into New Hope. So it's like it's just seamless if you watch it back to back to back.
Yeah.
Josh, does that mean from now on you're gonna watch the final arc of Andor into Rogue One into New Hope?
That's like how I do Revenge of the Sith now with Clone Wars finale.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to.
All right.
I don't know what it was for me, but the final compilation, like I don't get emotional that much. I think I mentioned last time, like watching when it panned back to Cyril's like mother back on Coruscant, like I did. But I don't know, like feel it like the end of this episode, just even though like the inside of me was like, I was hoping for a big, action-packed finale. But as it was closing out and I knew Andor was going off to Rogue One and everything to the events of Rogue One, like I was getting emotional. I'm like, oh shit, this episode's ending, and I've got an attachment to all these characters who are just like sitting down, having breakfast, getting ready for another day on Yavin and stuff. And for me, like I was expecting a big action-packed finale going into this episode, but then I was so satisfied in such a different way to the ending, and which made me then waste another 2.5 hours watching Rogue One.
Waste? You mean spend?
No waste.
Right. Investment.
I immediately went back onto Letterboxd, and because I'm all for that now, and I gave Rogue One another revised rating given Andor season 1 and 2, which some people say is sacrilege because you need to rate everything on its own. Yeah. But I was very happy to rate it again, rate it higher. So.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about the minute things here. Runtime tracker. So as you know, I've been keeping track of the true runtime for a lot of these episodes because Disney Plus false advertises. 7 minutes of credits and all, and then of course all the intros and the recaps of the previous episodes. So if we trim all that off and keep just the Andor logo along with all of the footage until you cut to black, Andor Season 2 has officially won the current contest of episodes over 35 minutes. Albeit the most recent 3 were some of the shorter episodes in this entire season. So episode 10 of season 2 clocked in at 41 minutes and 12 seconds. So that's in the green. We got 2 yellows following up. So season 2, episode 11 was actually 34 minutes and 59 seconds. But there is a bit of black between where it cuts and where the credits begin. So I gave it a 1 second buffer, generously awarded to make sure that it hit that 35-minute mark. So otherwise it would have been like season 1 where we had 11 out of 12 hitting 35 minutes for the gold standard. And then season 2, episode 12 was clocking in at 38 minutes and 32 seconds. So some of the shorter episodes of the whole show, but a great story nonetheless.
The black.
So Josh, does that mean you're satisfied?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it beat Skeleton Crew's 2 out of 8, only hitting 25% of the show.
That was a younger audience, but yeah.
Yeah. Dude, who cares? Like a younger audience, like at least give us 35 minutes,
Right. Fair enough. I'm curious, the part you're talking about that stretched it, that like black section of the movie, was that the fade to black that was like super long?
No, that wasn't. That was actually, so you're talking about episode 10. That was probably like a 10-second fade out, but that was still 1 minute over 40 minutes.
Okay.
But the gold standard is 35 onwards. So I've separated it into tiers. Red is above 20 minutes. Yellow is above 30, green is above 40, and neon green is above 50. So there's only 4 neon greens in like all of Star Wars television, but, or 3 actually. Is it 3 or 4? Yeah, 4. Anyway, most of Andor has been green. There's been a few yellows that's like north of 30, but to get a gold star, you have to have over 35 minutes runtime. And season 1 came in at 11 out of 12 episodes, hitting 35 minutes at least. Season 1, episode 2 was the one that only clocked in at 30 minutes and 16 seconds. So that was a really short one.
Very short, yeah.
So that's why for this one, I was like, it's almost that 11 out of 12, but I'll award it 1 extra second just so that we can make sure that is known.
Hold on, you gotta hit
2.
the liar button. Where's the liar button?
Where's the liar button? Oh,
You gotta
yeah.
hit the liar button.
Okay.
Sorry, I just did the sound effect myself.
There we go. Kirk, you're almost as good. I could have just rolled with that.
Yeah. Okay,
See,
so
should we just record everyone saying their own version of liar, and then we can just every time we press that button, it randomizes
That'd
it.
be so
yeah,
funny.
we really should. All right, let's give this guy some Pablo points of poodoos. All right, so Pablo Points of Poodoos is our rating system on the podcast. 3 Pablo Poodoos is the worst of the worst. 2 Pablo Poodoos is really bad. 1 Pablo Poodoo is bad. A Bendu is a 50% mediocre score. 1 Pablo point is good. 2 Pablo points is great. And 3 is fantastic. So, we'll start with you, Kirk. What would you give this story arc?
As in each individual episodes, I think this whole story arc I probably give a 2.5, with the first episode being a 3, second episode being a 2.5, and then the third and final episode for me being a 2.5 as well.
Okay, so we're gonna round down to a 2.5 for the story arc.
Yeah, for the whole thing, I reckon
Alrighty.
2.5 is good for me.
Alrighty. Okay, Dan, what about you, sir?
This is peak Star Wars for me. It's my favorite show out of all the Star Wars shows, and I give it a 333.
333, nice. All
Oh,
right.
man. Look at that.
Oh
Excellent.
damn! I want to give it a 333 now.
Too late.
All right, Blake, what about you?
This was actually harder for me to rate than the last arc. I really liked the first episode, so I'll probably give that a solid 2.5. Second one was, I will say the other 2, so the second and third, I appreciate more since this conversation. I would say the second one probably give it a 2, and the third one, there's just There's something at the end. I just felt very unsatisfied. I think it mainly just had to do with that we got a very small action scene at the start, and then the rest of it just felt like
Segue.
filler to get to Rogue One.
All right.
Like we have to check all the boxes. And so I probably only give that one like a 1.5.
Oh man. Okay. So
So
when
that averages to a 2.
So if you average it out, we're looking at a 2 then for the story arc.
It's 2.5 to 1.5, average of 2.
Average of 2, yeah. So 2, okay, yeah. So for context, IGN gave this one an 8. Last week, IGN gave out a 10. So
we don't care about IGN. Though.
I know. We don't care about IGN, but I'm just saying, like, they've been doing it as like story arc by arc. You know, even though it's separated into episodes, it's really a trio that tells like one story, right?
Yeah,
So
which is what we're doing, right?
Which is what we're doing. That's why we.
I haven't seen the Penguin, but apparently they gave like the Penguin like a 5 out of 10, and I heard the shows are great. So.
That's what I heard too.
But
Penguin's fantastic.
Penguin was awesome.
They gave a 5 out of 10. What's wrong with them?
Yeah,
they got a lot of flack for that.
I think it was actually revised. Like it started off, they put it out as a 3 out of 10, and then they changed it to a 5 or something.
The heck?
So like, I don't know what was going on there, but I think I don't want to talk about IGN too much, but I think what they do is that they have just independent reviewers and brand it as like a holistic like IGN review, which I think does not work.
Yeah,
I think you're right about that.
Kyle, I would ask you your Pablo points of Poodoos. I'm not going to write them down just yet because you haven't finished the story, but
correct.
But so far, just on average for the
first episode,
for the whole show, just in general, where are you sitting? Like, where are you sitting in general for the show that you've seen so far?
I'm a solid 2. But I believe at the end it might go up just because of the fact that I really love that seamlessness. So, and I, as soon as I'm done it tonight, I'm going to pop on Rogue One. So I'm going to give it a solid 2 right now. But once I'm done, I will just go in the chat and I'll let you guys know if I bump into that 2.5.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Also, I will read out as of this moment, we have the final team averages going from first to the last. So
is Nick still giving Poodoos over there?
No, actually, I think so Nick actually changed his mind.
He's talk him out of it.
He's been given 2.5s lately. So okay, so
full reversal.
So Nick bringing down the team average for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes. We were sitting at a team average of 1.5 Pablo points. We went to 2 Pablo points for what was that, episode 6. And then we've been an average of 2.5 Pablo points for episode 7 onwards through 12. So, in general, sitting really nicely, very not diverse at all, and that's kind of a good thing because, it's widely considered a very good show. So, okay, one more thing. Orbit Key is having a final clearance sale for their Star Wars stuff. It's all going. They're doing 50% off a lot of stuff on the site. So go visit orbitkey.com/collection/star-wars. Kirk, you're a big fan of Orbit Key?
I sure am a big fan of Orbit Key.
Yeah.
I don't. I love their products. I used to work with them until they promoted me to customer. But apart from that, in a good way, I didn't get fired. I won't put that out. But yes, I think they're finishing up their. I think they're finishing up their Star Wars line now. So definitely, if you want to get them, I think mostly everything's like 50% off or something. I saw.
Yeah.
I saw
all of it. All of it was limited edition while it was coming out. The first wave was a couple of the key organizers a number of years ago, and that's when you and I started talking over email before we brought you on.
That's how you found me.
Till we became friends. Yeah.
Yeah. I've still to this day. I think you just wanted free product, but who knows? Maybe you've got some other benefit out of me.
Was that like 9 years ago?
I got something better. I got friendship. Yeah. I got family. Dominic Toretto. Anyways,
is he like a pod racer?
Yeah. Fast and Furious pod racing style. All right, yeah. So, anyways, go and check out Orbit Key. Grab some of the final Star Wars things before they're all gone. Before Star Wars doesn't come back. Who knows if it comes back or not? But yeah, go and check that out. All right.
You mind if I do a final little plug for the next upcoming conventions?
Do it.
So I just finished over in Calgary. Calgary was amazing. I love all you guys out there. Thank you for coming on by. Prince George, again, that's one of my favorite conventions in the country. So it was really nice being out there too. My next convention, I'm heading out to Niagara Falls for the Niagara Falls Comic-Con. But this year, if everybody that's here, you can check it out at Canada Fan Expo this year in Toronto. Ewan McGregor is going to be there. So I've already got my tickets. I'm going to go meet him.
Oh, yes.
Alrighty.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that mention. Yeah, I totally forgot. Fan Expo coming up. Star Wars people will be there. So yeah, thank you for that, Kyle. Also, for anyone listening, go and check out, what's the website, Kyle?
It's kaisabers.ca. And right now, again, we got that buy one, get one free for your kids.
Alrighty, yeah, go and check that out. And great deal on the Youngling Sabers. For anyone who's got birthdays coming up, it's buy one, get one free. Great if you have some twins.
For a late Star Wars Day celebration.
Yeah, late Star Wars Day celebration. You can make yourself a saber staff. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. So thanks.
12
Kyle.
colors, 4 sounds. It's a great little system.
Exactly. All right. Awesome. Next week we have, next week this episode drops, but the week after we're going to have some discussions for the Tales of the Underworld animated show that came out on May 4th. And then after that follows a novel review called Reign of the Empire Mask of Fear, which is a book that is going to be part of a trilogy that they're releasing one each year for the next 3 years. And it is a prequel / lead in to Andor in a sort of loose way. So far, the first one has focused on characters like Saw Gerrera, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and so on. So we're reading that right now. We're going to give that a nice review in a few weeks, and we'll see what everyone thinks about it. All right. Thank you so much to Dan, Kirk, Kyle, also Matt and Darian and Shauna. I'm blanking out if anyone else joined us for the Andor.
Blake.
Oh yeah, he's coming. Andor after show. So thank you all for being lovely people joining on. And last but not least, Blake, our lovely co-host. Thank you so much for always coming here and being part of the show. We could not do it without you. Yeah, that's everybody.
It's been an honor as always. Looking forward to the next one. We'll see you out there. Keep flying.
Alrighty. Thank you all, and thank you to our lovely audience for tuning in so far. We've got, like I said, tons of awesome stuff coming up, and be sure to check that out. One thing I definitely forgot to plug is Star Wars Launchpad. It is a AI experimental podcast that we've been doing to get Star Wars news out there, and the last one that we did was actually day 3 of Star Wars Celebration. We had coverage over the whole weekend, one for each day. They're very easy to do, and they don't take too long. Most of the discussion is AI generated from some program that you can find online called Notebook LM. It's just a really great format for us to get news out there that you can listen to in under 20 minutes. This has not replaced any part of Star Wars Escape Pod at all. It's just something that we're doing on the side. So go and check that out. You can find it across any podcasting platform in the galaxy, including YouTube, YouTube Music, all that stuff. You can find us with the handle at SW Escape Podcast on YouTube, Twitter, Bluesky, and so on. Definitely give us a follow. Share this show with a friend. And we do love hearing what you all have to say. So I can't emphasize that enough. swescapepodcast@gmail.com is the best way to reach us. You can send in your voicemails and your thoughts on our episode. I always share it around with the crew over here anytime we get a comment. So you can leave a comment on Spotify or whatever. Leave a 5-star review. It always helps us out, helps the algorithms. And we will see you in the next one. May the Force be with you.
It's like